turn our attention to the sculptures that, positioned in front of each other, adorn the funerary monuments to the young cadets of the House of Medici, who died before their time after having dedicated their lives to the profession of arms. Giuliano, Duke of Nemours, and Lorenzo, Duke of Urbino. Giuliano was the third son of Lorenzo il Magnifico, and is here depicted on the right of the entrance as a condottiere, while with a resolute gaze firmly holds the baton of command. The allegorical figures of the day and the night lie down at his feet, on the volute of the sarcophagus. The former is a young woman whose body is so polished that it looks as though it were lit by moonlight. Her head is bowed on her chest, striking a pose that emphasizes her diadem, with a crescent moon. Around her, Michelangelo sculpted the poppies that facilitate sleep, the owl that rules the night, and a monstrous mask that recalls the nightmares that breed in the dreams of men. On the other side, placed symmetrically to the night, the day twists its vigorous body, turning its head towards the visitor. Its face is barely sketched. It looks as though it were not completely awake yet. The night is as polished and apparently perfect as the day looks incomplete, in the typical style of Michelangelo, an allusion to the impossibility of recreating nature and the world. The figure of Lorenzo, Duke of Urbino, a nephew of Lorenzo il Magnifico, stands out on the wall on the opposite side. Lorenzo has the left hand on his chin, striking a thoughtful and pensive pose. At his feet, the dawn is slowly waking up from the nightly torpor, stretching out its limbs. Conversely, the dusk slightly reclines its head, almost overcome by the fatigue of the ending day. These sculptures implicitly express a philosophical meaning. In fact, according to the Platonic ideas espoused by Michelangelo, man is the unity of thought and action. While Duke Giuliano, a resolute and authoritative chieftain, is the symbol of active life, Lorenzo embodies contemplative life. While Giuliano is accompanied by the day and the night, two well-defined periods of time, Lorenzo is with the dawn and the dusk, two moments of transition and wait between light and dark. Time is therefore the main theme of the Medici tombs. Its relentless flow leads to a reflection on the transience of life and the unfavourable destiny that shattered the expectations of glory of the two young men. Immortal art, however, triumphs over death and makes the memory of the two princes become history in the same way as their deeds will keep their fame forever alive. The artist replied to those who had personally met the two dukes and objected that Michelangelo had transfigured their features, that within a few years nobody would remember their faces, but only their feats. The sacristy was meant to also include the grand funerary monument to Lorenzo il Magnifico and his brother Giuliano. The grave was never finished. Only the exquisite sculptures of the Madonna with Child, which were executed by Michelangelo in 1521, and the saints Cosmas and Damian, the patron saints of the Medici family, a work by Michelangelo's pupils, remain. The statue of the Virgin was never completed by the artist, as evident from the different stages of execution and finish. The artwork is constructed along an imaginary spiral, which starts from the left foot of the Virgin and ends in the bowed head. The child is also part of this rotation. In the arms of his mother, he turns his chest, showing his shoulders. According to some critics, this pose is reminiscent of the child Jesus of the Madonna of the Stairs, one of Michelangelo's early works. The three sacred images are not placed in the large niches designed by Michelangelo, but instead on a simple marble base containing the remains of the two eminent members of the House of Medici. The dukes Lorenzo and Giuliano, from the top of their twin sepulchres, look towards the images, as though they begged for their favour, encouraging the visitors through the celebration of the deeds of the dead. to believe in the immortality of the soul.